Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Simply Psyched Psychology Made Easy. Today we will discuss the first part of Sigmund Freud's psychodynamic theory, that is the introduction to psychodynamic theory. Psychodynamic theory was given by Sigmund Freud. Uh, this was the first theory of personality, and Sigmund Freud was the first person who described mental illnesses and human behavior from a psychological approach. Before this, all the mental illnesses and all the human behavior was viewed in terms of biological aspects only, and psychological aspects were completely ignored. I have discussed Sigmund Freud's biography in detail in my previous video. I will give the link of the same video in my description box. Please check the link if you are interested in watching Sigmund Freud's biography. This is very important topic if to understand the Sigmund Freud's biography is extremely important to understand his theory as well. So please go back and watch that video as well. Now let's come to the topic, what is psychodynamic approach. Okay, before we actually proceed with the proper description of this theory, okay, let me explain you something which is very important here. Now when we talk about the Sigmund Freud's psychodynamic approach, there is often a confusion between using the terms psychodynamic and psychoanalytic. Many people often say that these two terms can be used interchangeably. Means you can either say psychodynamic or you can say psychoanalysis. But this is a incorrect way of using it. When we speak of psychodynamic approach, we refer to the theory, okay, and when we use psychoanalytical approach, we refer to the therapy. Okay, so please remember this, it's very important. Okay, this discretion is extremely important, not only in terms of your understanding for the topic, but also in terms of the also for the MCQs in various examinations as well. Okay, now let's try to understand what Sigmund Freud says about human beings. Okay, every personality theorist will view a human nature in a particular way. What Sigmund Freud says about human nature, he says that the basic human nature, the core human nature is a very animalistic, primordial and selfish. Okay, he says that our behavior is very animalistic and primordial, means it's at a very early stage of the evolution. This is something he was influenced by Darwin. Okay, in this concept he was influenced by Darwin. Apart from this, he says that human behavior is chiefly motivated by selfish motives, sexual and aggressive desires. Okay, so he says that our sexual and aggressive desires, our selfish motives play a very crucial role in motivating a human to behave in a particular way. So these are the motivating forces. Motivating forces of human behavior. And since we have been socialized in ways which do not accept us to be selfish, to be aggressive and to express our sexual needs very openly, therefore what do? We simply suppress these things into our unconscious mind, and therefore he says that unconscious mind is a very crucial aspect of human behavior, and this governs the overall behavior of an individual. So that is how Sigmund Freud basically views a human nature to be influenced like. So he sees human behavior to be determined. Okay, this is again an important concept. He says that human behavior is more of a determined and not self-designed. Okay, this is also important concept here, and I have discussed this concept in my personality theories, what a personality theory should be like, in that kind of lecture. Okay, and you will see these details there as well. Now let's move to the next part of Freud's psychodynamic theory. Okay, this is a very important concept here. Okay, though this concept was eventually okay, later on it was revised by Freud, but this is how he basically conceptualized mind. Okay, we will discuss the later model of mind in the coming lectures as well. So what he says, that mind is like an iceberg. Okay, he says that mind is like an iceberg. Okay, now why he compared mind with an iceberg? Okay, now when you see an iceberg from above the surface of water, you realize you see a very small part of it, right? You see a very small part of iceberg from the above surface, from above the surface of the water. But when you see the same iceberg from below the surface of water, you realize that this iceberg is quite huge than what it looks like from the above, right? It is not visible. Similarly, human mind is also like that. What we see about a human mind is just 10% of it, and that is what we call as the conscious mind. But there is a large part of human mind which comprises of the 90% of it, is called as the unconscious mind. But this is never visible. We never, even the person himself is never aware. What is unconscious? It is out of our awareness. We are not. Okay, this means that we are unaware, and this is what we are aware. Okay, that is the difference here. Now let me try to explain this to you again in more detail. Now what he says, that what does the conscious mind consist of? It consists of your present thoughts, present perceptions, and present emotions. Whatever you are experiencing right now is your conscious mind. Okay, this is your conscious mind, and this is your unconscious mind. Okay, the unconscious mind consists of all of those things which you don't want to remember. Okay, the things, the aspects of your mind, or the aspects of psyche which we do not want to think of, which we do not want to be aware about, because that will cause pain, or that will be painful, that will give you a trauma in some or the other way. These things, this unconscious is like a storeroom. Okay, everything that we don't want is dumped into this storeroom. What do? We simply dump all of that into the unconscious. Everything that we don't want, everything that we want to forget, it is dumped into the unconscious mind. This could consist of your aggressive wishes, sexual instincts, selfish desires. Why? Because the expression of sexual, aggressive, and selfish desires is not acceptable in society, and we might be judged negatively. We might be judged as a pervert, as a violent person, as an antisocial person, if people come to know that we have strong desires for being aggressive, being selfish, and being sexual. Therefore we suppress these desires into our unconscious. Apart from that, all our shameful experiences, all the fears, all the unacceptable wishes, because again this will make us feel that we are weak, and this will give some pain to us. Therefore we often tend to forget these things. Also there are many painful memories and painful childhood experiences which have a very strong negative emotions and very strong negative memories associated with it. And if you try to remember those things, this will give a lot of pain to us, and it will be very difficult for us to survive in that situation. And therefore what we do, we simply suppress those things in the unconscious mind. But what happens? See, no matter how painful experiences a person has had in his life, but no matter how much we try to forget those painful experiences, okay, but these are a very important aspect, or these comprise the major aspect of our behavior, or of this consists of the major aspect, or a very large part of our psyche, of our mind, right? Therefore these aspects will have a strong influence, right? Just because you have dumped those things in the unconscious doesn't mean that these things have never been a part of you. Okay, This applies to all of us, and therefore these unconscious forces, they are constantly trying to come into the awareness. Okay, no matter how much we suppress them, but they are constantly trying to come into the awareness, because at some or the other point, okay, specifically the aggressive and sexual wishes and selfish desires, because we want to fulfill those, right? We want to fill the gaps of not being able to fulfill these wishes, and therefore they are constantly trying to come into the awareness. But because of the process of socialization, we are aware, and we are conscious individuals. We don't want to harm people. We want to be responsible individuals, and the conscious mind tries to suppress all of these emotions again back into the unconscious. Okay, now what is happening here? This conscious mind and the unconscious mind, they are having a constant fight. Okay, one is saying ki all the negative emotions, all the unwanted part of the mind should go into the unconscious, and unconscious says that all the unwanted, or the so, or whatever I want should, I should be aware about it, right? I should be able to do whatever I want the way I want to live. And this struggle is constant. There is a constant struggle going on between the conscious and the unconscious. And because of this whole struggle, okay, because of this whole struggle, Sigmund Freud has used the term dynamics. He uses the term dynamics. The dynamics of psychodynamics refers to this struggle between conscious and unconscious. I hope you all are clear with this concept now. Okay, the term dynamic is used because the mind is never steady. There is a constant activity going on in our mind between the conscious and the unconscious. Okay, now despite of this whole struggle between the conscious and the unconscious, okay, the unconscious many times dominates the conscious. Okay, indeed, according to Freud, everything that we do is because of the unconscious mind. Let me try to explain you with a simple example. Let's say you always wanted to be successful, okay, but because of some or the other reason, uh, you could not become so. There are chances, okay, that you might crack various jokes on people who are more successful. Or let me try to give another example. Let's say if there is a person who always who always wanted that he should not fail in the examination. He should do there is a person who has a feeling that he should be successful in the examination, but because of some or the other reasons he could not prepare for the examination. Let's say this student was having a lot of illness throughout the year, and therefore he could not prepare for the examination. There are chances in this case that this person might forget the ID card, the person might be late for the examination, and so on. So whenever we are doing all of these things, okay, according to Sigmund Freud, okay, there is some or the other unconscious aspect associated with this, but we are never aware about our own unconscious wishes. In another example of, let's say, a mental illness called as possession syndrome also, people who have a very strong need of attention and approval, which they do not get in the real life, they are likely to be possessed by gods on certain occasions, because being possessed by God gives them the attention and approval which they always wanted. And this is how the unconscious mind works on all of your behavior, and that is how the unconscious mind plays a very crucial role in various mental illnesses as well. Sigmund Freud said in one of his quotes that unconscious emotions will never die. These unconscious emotions are buried alive, and they will come forth later in uglier ways. That was very rightly said by him. Okay, now let's try to summarize the basis of Sigmund Freud's theory. Okay, this is not the summary of Freud's theory. This is the basic concept around which the whole theory will revolve. Okay, the whole theory of Sigmund Freud will revolve around these four concepts. Okay, now what are these? That human behavior is governed by sexual and aggressive urges. The human behavior is governed by sexual and aggressive urges. Because we cannot express these urges very openly in the society, all of these urges are dumped into the unconscious. Those emotions are stored into unconscious. We repress. Okay, we repress our sexual and aggressive urges into the unconscious, and we are repressing our true feelings. Okay, and therefore the unconscious mind is dominating the whole human behavior. But in the therapy aspect, Sigmund Freud said that when a person is aware of his true feelings means the original urges which were suppressed, then the person starts behaving in the more adaptive ways, and the person's problematic behaviors start to resolve when he is aware about the true feelings and starts working upon this. Okay, so that was all for today's lecture. These are the references which I used for preparing this lecture. I hope you all liked this video. If you find my video useful, please please click the like button, and also write in the comment box what things you liked about my video, and if you want me to improve on certain aspects, please write that as well. And also write about what do you want to see more in the upcoming series of my lectures. Okay, and also don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well. Thank you very much. I hope you all like this. Have a good day.